Freddie Freeman, obviously, that was it was on Fox, but I think that highlight was on ESPN. So I'll give credit there. If I said, and this is going to be more for Dodger fans, if I said, all right, what are some of the greatest playoff moments in Dodgers history? I'll go a step further. What are the greatest playoff moments in the history of baseball in the postseason? Let me go a step further. What are the greatest playoff moments in Los Angeles sports history? I can look at this in many different ways. Um, you can look at, and listen, the Dodgers have great moments. Sandy Koufax, Fernando, Rick Monday in 1981 hits a home run. Hershiser in 1988. Obviously, Gibson home run. You see a lot of those clips being ran right now. You hear Joe Davis mention it. Cody Bellinger hits that home run in a 3-3 tie versus the Braves in Game 7 in 2020. Takes them to the World Series. Dodgers win the pennant. Freddie Freeman's moment, if it's not the greatest moment in Dodgers history in the postseason, it's impossible not to have a conversation about the Dodgers moving forward when you talk about the playoffs. And you say, remember when Freddie Freeman hit that grand slam? Let me set this up here. It was game one of the World Series. It's versus the New York Yankees. There's 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning. The bases are loaded and the Dodgers are down 3-2. That's the stage that was set for Freddie Freeman. It doesn't have to be the greatest moment in Dodger history. It doesn't have to be, the top moment that you think of when it comes to LA sports. But Freddie Freeman's grand slam on Friday night will be remembered in Dodgers history, LA's history, and the history of the postseason, period. That's going to be, I don't care who was watching the game on Friday night. However you look at it, people are going to look back on that moment and say, remember when Freddie Freeman hit a grand slam in game one of the World Series against the New York Yankees, down 3-2. It's the first grand walk-off grand slam in postseason history. Do you remember that? Everybody's going to say, yeah, of course I remember that. Yeah, no, here's where I was. Here's what I was doing. This is what was going on. I ate this at night. That's how colossal of a moment that was. Again, in Dodgers history, in postseason history, and I think in LA history as well, when you look at just how big of a moment it was. Now, that's only if the Dodgers cash it in, they end up winning a World Series. I already made my case why I think this is now. It's just a matter of time until the Dodgers win the World Series. But damn, and then let me take it a step further with Freddie Freeman. He obviously had the issue with his son earlier in the season, Guillain-Barré syndrome. That left the team for maybe 10, 12 days to deal with that. And so many stories came out of Freddie Freeman and the moment away and him coming back. He had a quote. I remember he had a quote, and he said, I know Dodger fans don't want to hear this, but he just basically said something to the effect of like, I could be in the bottom of the 9th inning, World Series, bases loaded. Like he said something like that. And he said, I could strike out 100 times in a row and I wouldn't care. He's talking about just it was actually kind of crazy, the parallels. And here he is then coming through in October, in late October in the World Series to hit a grand slam. I think Freddie Freeman is one of the more likable players in all of Major League Baseball, one of the more respected players in all of Major League Baseball. If you look at before the season ended, he's dealing with his ankle injury. A lot of people said, hey, that's a 4 to 6 week ankle injury. Him playing against the Padres, him playing against the Mets, and they wrapped up the series against the Mets, had a little bit of time. And he's like, yeah, I'm 100% playing, even though he's not 100%. You saw him hobbling around over the course of the postseason so far. Easy guy to root for. So the fact that you kind of had all those storylines and it was him doing it, he's not no scrub. Freddie Freeman is one of the best players in all Major League Baseball, but that's a moment. That's a moment. I'll say this. You have certain moments in sports. That's one of those moments that whether if you were watching that game or you're a fan of sports or you're a fan of Major League Baseball, You will remember Freddie Freeman's grand slam for years. And obviously, if you're a Dodger fan or if you're at the game or any of that stuff, then that's a whole different story. That's something that's living with you forever. That's Robert Ory hitting a three top of the key to beat the Sacramento Kings at the buzzer. There are moments that we can all. That's Derek Fisher hitting a shot with .4. If I'm using some Laker comps, I think of obviously some moments that I've had in my personal life, but there are moments. That's one of those moments.